Hello, this is Spyderrock, and welcome to RECRAFTED, my new add-on pack for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Also, my biggest project yet, and probably the most cohesive and good add-on pack for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This pack adds in a ton of add-ons, which you can see behind me, because I'm going to be going over briefly all of them, as well as things added to the pack exclusively. This pack is available for download right now. There's a link in the description, and I have a few disclaimers to go over before I start getting into things. The main disclaimer is that there may still be some bugs in the pack. I have spent a lot of time doing playtesting and whatnot, and I may continue to spend time playtesting, but there are quite a few bugs remaining, maybe, that I haven't found. But I've tried to fix every single one I could find. I've spent many hours on this pack, which contains all of these add-ons. So I'm going to go over all of the add-ons briefly, but first I want to go over some of the things in this pack that are extras. These are things that are only in this pack and not in anything else. And you know, for the sake of this, I'm gonna set my spawn point and go into survival mode. I don't really think about that. Anyway, some of the extras, we've got speed blocks, which, oh, whatever this is attacking me. Hold up. There's a lot of new things, including new mobs that are going to beat you up. And this is one of the new mobs that is from Bedrock, one of the add-ons in this pack that I will get to in a second. Now, it would be nice if I could kill it so I can, okay. Anyway, we've got speed blocks, diamond speed blocks, and maglev speed blocks. These give you speed boosts when you run on them. So as you can see, that one gave me a little speed boost. Speed blocks speed you up a little bit. Diamond speed blocks speed you up a whole lot more, like a lot. And then maglev speed blocks, well, these are, you know, you may notice they kind of look like netherite blocks. They make you incredibly fast. So those are 3 of the new blocks in this add-on pack that are just exclusive to the pack. We've also got a ton of lucky blocks going all the way from wood, stone, iron, diamond, netherite, true, and classic. True lucky blocks, which I'll just go ahead and show off. Every lucky block drops 1 item, and lucky blocks will typically drop a random item. There is a small chance for all lucky blocks to drop no item because you get really unlucky. True lucky blocks will drop 1 of pretty much any item in the game, including items from the add-on pack. So you can see my loot right now is warped nilium, mangrove, short nails, planks, reinforced oak dowsing rod, and a glow pickaxe. So ultimately not terrible, but not great. So that's what the lucky blocks are, and there's a ton of different lucky blocks. Netherite ones are the best. Trues are like anything. Classic are going to be pretty basic. Things like that. Last thing I'd like to mention that's kind of exclusive to the pack and not from any add-on in it is that you can smelt down rotten flesh into leather scraps and combine 4 of them into a piece of leather. Just some quality of life things I wanted, and that's a creeper. Please don't blow up my chest, creeper. Well, anyway, let's get on with it. The first handful of add-ons are all add-ons by me, but everybody else's add-ons will have their name at the bottom of the little sign when I introduce it. Also, there will be a wiki in the description that should give you general information about this add-on pack, as well as it'll link all of the add-ons and their creators, so make sure you give everybody the love and respect they deserve for helping with this. Anyway, the first one we're going to be looking at is more gear, and I'm not gonna, other disclaimer, this isn't everything in each of these add-ons. This is just a little bit of the things from the add-ons, just a little taste, so you can get a general idea of what they add. I'm sure many of you know many of these add-ons already. More gear adds a ton of new sets of gear, so armor and tools. That includes wooden, copper, bone crusher, mech suit, mystic, amethyst, obsidian, power, sea brain, and slime weave, and a lot of them give different abilities. So I went ahead and just grabbed the chest plates because it was easy. But for example, slime weave gives you jump boost, sea brain gives you, when you're in water, I don't know if you're standing or, yeah, when you're standing in water you get haste, and then if you have a full set you get conduit power. Power gives you a bunch of different buffs. Amethyst gives you strength. Obsidian doesn't really give you anything, but it's just very durable. Mystic gives you speed and resistance. Copper doesn't give you anything, but it's cheap to make. Mech suit gives you haste and resistance. Wooden, also very cheap to make. And then bone crusher is just resistance. Next up, we have blasters, which is essentially my guns add-on. This is just a handful of them. Once again, there are a lot of different blasters in this add-on. You've got things like snipers that have, you know, all the things have like their own little, what do you call that, muzzle flash, and they have like little screen effects. Basically just a bunch of new ranged weapons. Shotguns in the form of lobbers. We got railguns, which, you know, a lot of cool stuff here. You got explosives, you got all kinds of stuff. Let's see if I head back over here, you can see, yeah, we've got explosives, we've got snowball cannons. Oh, there's a snowballer, look at this. Drops a bunch of snowballs, all kinds of stuff like that. Next up we have Questcraft, which is my questing add-on. You can get summon and collection quest vendors from structures around the world, as well as wandering traders, and these are essentially like spawn eggs for them. And then you can trade for quests. You can complete quests, which, you know, these collection quests will be like gather whatever items, and then you can complete those quests and trade them in for loot. And then summon ones will give you a little token. It'll spawn a boss. You kill the boss and you get the gilded token, and you give it back to them and you get some loot. Pretty simple add-on, pretty nifty if you like, you know, quests, and if you like having an objective, there's an objective. Next we have MC Money, which is my economy add-on, which gives things like player shops, where I'm not going to go over the whole process of setting up a player shop, but you can place a block down, throw down that, and you get access to this whole shop where you can set prices and have things that other players can go and, you know, go up to your shop and buy your stuff. And then if you have money, you can throw it in an ATM, and then if you go into here, you can see that I have money that's going into my ATM, and then you can use an ATM card to withdraw your money, and then it'll tell you when your bank account is empty. And then you can see I can put my money back in, and there will be interest over time too, which is kind of a boring sounding feature, but in reality, if you have a lot of money, you can get a lot more money. There's also different people you can go to, merchants that will sell you things for your money, things like that. Then we have Crazy Tools. Crazy Tools is an add-on with a bunch of, well, crazy tools. Things such as the Item Sucker, where you can pull items that are nearby towards you. You've got Mushroom Can. This is just a handful. Once again, a handful of the items. There's a ton more than this. Mushroom Can, which turns grass into mushroom blocks. Pearl Sniper, which basically just teleports you wherever you're looking. Time Banana, which allows you to change the time of day. And then a flashlight, which when you hold it, lights up the area around you, which you can only kind of see here because it's daytime. But a ton of other stuff though. But those are just some of the many cool tools in Crazy Tools. We also have Miner's Dream, which is an add-on that is inspired by the Ore Spawn mod from Minecraft Java Edition. That adds in the, well, Miner's Dream. So the base Miner's Dream, you kind of have to be underground to use it, so I'm going to dig down a little bit. But the base Miner's Dream essentially mines out areas, places down torches, and leaves the ores for you to mine. Builder's Dream just essentially clears a flat area of land regardless of what blocks they are, and you can go and grab all of those blocks. And then Strip Miners create strip mines in 4 different directions. And this is a great way to absolutely destroy your world, so I'd be careful with that. But they are not the easiest to craft, and they only stack up to 16. So you will have to farm things like cactus, gunpowder, redstone. Some of them, like the Builder's Dream, I believe requires a shovel, so stuff like that. And there's a ton more as well. Next up, Crazy Weapons adds a ton of different weapons. I think more than 25. This is just a handful of them though. Sweeping Blade adds sweeping like the Java effect, which I can't really show you. True Warrior Sword gives whatever you hit strength and a very high level of strength. So a zombie could probably 1 or 2 shot you, depending on what armor you have. But it's relatively cheap and gives you 9 attack damage. Big Hammer slams enemies into the ground. Studded Greatsword allows you to fire random projectiles, as well as just being a 24 damage sword. So pretty neat stuff there. A ton of more weapons and stuff though. Bossborn adds a ton of new bosses to your game, which I'm gonna have to go to creative and fly really far away, just so I don't have to deal with having to deal with a lot of these bosses and mobs and stuff, which I'll probably just use /kill. But as an example, they all have custom music, though I have my music off. It is tied to your music slider. Oh, some crabs. For example, Diamond Golems, Village Destroyers, which will fight the Diamond Golems, Pebbles, which is like a multi-stage boss, and then the Pulsing Sapling, which will spawn in the Swamp Mage, which will you can fight. And then all of these have their own loot, and there's a final boss that you can craft the spawner for if you kill all 9 of the other bosses. Let me do a /kill at E. Just run that a couple times to get rid of these guys. I will say kind of the main objective of this add-on pack and of all of my add-ons and stuff combined is to beat all of the Bossborn bosses, which you will need the help of everything else that you can get from this pack to do. So just a general recommendation. Next up we have Structure Expansion, which adds a ton of new structures. I'm going to fly around until I can find one. There are other structures which aren't actually added by Structure Expansion. There's one though that is that little hot air balloon up there. We also have this little stump. There are a ton of structures from Structure Expansion as well as from other add-ons. Most of the structures are Structure Expansion, but the ones from other add-ons are a little bit more common. So a lot of these you're seeing are from other add-ons, but I'll see if we can find one from Structure Expansion. Hey, look, another hot air balloon that is also from Structure Expansion. I will say I made these Structure Expansion ones a lot rarer, but here is one. This is the, I think I called this the, it's like a church, but it's the temple, the forest temple. So this actually has all kinds of loot and stuff in it, as all of them do. You can find loot in the chests, and yeah, there are a ton of new structures though, so just explore the world. I'm sure you can find a ton of new cool structures. Next up, now we're moving on to add-ons by other people. We have Dexton with Dexton's Creeper Overhaul, which adds in a ton of new creepers. So just an example of a few of these creepers, we've got Snowy Creepers, Mushroom Creepers, Bamboo Creepers, and Badlands Creepers, among a ton of different creepers that will add a lot of variety to your world, which I'm actually going to run a /kill at E again because I don't want these creepers to blow up all my chests, which I spent a while trying to organize. Next we have Frog Eat Stuff. I'm just going to briefly explain this one. This is by Llama. It allows frogs to eat pretty much any mob, a bunch of different mobs, and they will drop different loot depending on what mob they eat. Next we have Profe Plays Chalk add-on, which adds in regular chalk and glow chalk for finding your way around caves. So if we head back down to the giant mess of a hole I made, let's say I want to get around, well, I can place this chalk down. I can be like, oh, the exit's this way, but oh, it's a little dark. Well, I can use glow chalk, and glow chalk will actually light your way through caves and to exits, and it's pretty cheap to make, which is nice. So you can actually, oh, I can just confuse myself here for a second, but it allows you to mark your way through caves. There's a ton of different colors of chalk, so you can come up with systems like, oh, blue chalk will lead us to the ocean, whereas red chalk will lead us to my nether portal, you know, stuff like that. So very handy add-on to have, especially when playing with other people, and you want to make sure that people know how to get out of caves when they go into them. Next up, we have One Player Sleep by Profe Plays. Now, I don't know if this allows you to sleep in the middle of the day, but if I do time set midnight, and then I go into survival, actually, I don't know that it really matters. Then if you just sleep on the bed, which I think you're supposed to stand on the pillow of the bed and then sleep in the bed. I'm not exactly sure, but it will allow you to do one player sleep. If you have a bunch of players in your game, it can be very useful. Next, we have Woodcutter by Zelda Chair. This essentially allows you to take any wood in Minecraft, and I just broke my stone cutter, and place it in a stone cutter and cut it into things like trapdoors, doors, ladders, slabs, bowls, sticks, whatever you need. You can make it in a stone cutter with wood now, which is a very handy add-on to have. Next we have Agriculture's Fantasy by Lath, which adds in a ton of new plants, and just an example of some of the things you can get, which also they will tell you the level of nutrition and the level of saturation that you can get. You can get onions that you can turn into onion rings. There's a ton of different ways to grow things. There's new pots. You can get sushi. There's new fish that will spawn around your world. You can get pies, donuts. There's a new chocolate cake that works like regular Minecraft cake. Tons of new food stuff. So I think it is one of the best food add-ons out there, and there's nice descriptions of what all the foods do here. So very neat. Next we have Divine Dowsing by Llama, which adds in dowsing rods. So just an example of some of these dowsing rods, they will tell you directly below you what they find. So this one found iron ore, coal ore, and skulky stone. But then I can use it again over here, and I can find iron ore, copper ore, skulky stone, and deep slate iron ore. You can also use ones like the acacia rod to find cave biomes. There's a ton of different ones though, some for nether ores. There's upgraded versions that will tell you things even further down. Next up, we have the Disenchanter, one of my favorite add-ons. This is by Dimple. This adds in this new custom crafting table, or I guess enchanting table, called the Disenchanting Table. And walking up to this, also don't do /kill at E when you have stuff like this, because they rely on entities. It's a whole thing. So anyway, you can place this down. You can put something with enchantments on, like an enchanted book or an enchanted sword or bow or really any item. And you can place a couple of books into here. So I'm actually going to throw a couple books in here, and then I'll put my books back in because you're only supposed to put one in each. I'm going to surround this whole thing in books though, just to be safe. And you grab your amethyst shards, put them in there, and then it'll play some noises, and it'll take the enchantments off of your sword, and in exchange you get an unbreaking 1 book and a sharpness 1 book. And so instead of using things like lapis and experience, it uses amethyst shards, which is very cool. Next up we have Soul Magic, which I'm gonna have to explain more than I can show because it's a little bit complicated. This one allows you to basically find these lost souls and soul sparks places, capture them into jars, and then you can use the soul infuser core with pedestals, and there's a whole process you can use, and you can essentially craft spawn eggs. This is how you can craft spawn eggs. It's a very difficult process to craft spawn eggs, but it allows you to craft spawn eggs. And once again, check the wiki. There will be a link to this add-on on the wiki, and you can see information about the add-on there in terms of how to activate it, because it's a little bit complicated and I kind of forget, but I've used it before. It's been in Mindsanity, and yeah, it's a really great add-on. Next up, we have the inventory sorter by Doodimple. This gives you the player inventory sorter. So let's say I want to grab a ton of different things. Let me grab stuff like stackable, maybe items. Okay, let me grab a bunch of these things, and then I want to just throw them around my inventory. Oh no, my inventory is messy. I don't know what's been going on. Then it'll also ignore your hotbar, by the way, just to be on the safe side. If you have it organized how you like, you use this, and then boom, my inventory is nice and neatly sorted. So I've got all my new stuff and my custom stuff too. It works with custom stuff. I think it puts custom stuff right to the beginning, in front of other things. I'm not entirely sure, but also very handy to have. Next up, we have level storage, also by Doodimple. I'm gonna hop into survival for this one because I think it is better demonstrated in survival. So if I throw down some bottles of enchanting, grab my levels up, let's see, I'm at level 7 now. Then you can have a level infuser and an experience drainer. So if I walk up to the experience drainer, I might have levels already. No, I don't. Okay. You can walk up to the drainer and it will drain your levels from you, and it'll be stored in the air, in the sky, in these blocks. And you can walk up to the infuser and you can gather your level back. Now the levels back. Now the main disadvantage of this is how long it takes. So that is kind of why you can't just like throw all your levels in there and get them back whenever you need in an instant, which honestly I think is kind of good for balancing reasons. It does take a while though, so if there is an update that fixes that, I will happily add that back to the pack. But it takes its time to add your levels back, and then it does not take long to remove your levels. So yeah, but that's a very, very handy add-on to have if you don't want to lose your levels when you die. It just takes a very long time to get back up to even level 30. So just putting that out there. Next we have the sorting wand by Doodimple. Now this is similar to the other add-ons where, which I don't know if any of these just still have anything in them, but here, Agriculture's Fantasy, for example, I can throw it in. It works like the sorting player inventory sorter, but you crouch and then you interact with a chest and it will sort out alphabetically all of, okay, it does work with custom things, but it does, it sorts everything alphabetically in that chest, which is very nice if you have lots of chests with lots of stuff in it, dump chests, things like that. Phenomenal tool to have if you want to be able to find things. So absolutely one of the most necessary add-ons to have in any world, in my opinion. Next up is Dexters Chiselery, which adds in a ton of new types of block, which there are way more than this. If you look in the inventory, there's like hundreds and hundreds, and there's just a bunch of different blocks you can use for decorating and building, and you can get them from putting blocks in a stone cutter. Like, look at this vertical large spruce like wood, like that's very cool, and it works with like tools and custom tools too now, thanks to some Minecraft updates. So lots of new blocks for building, and that's always very nice as someone who likes to build. Next up is IDT Accessories by I'm Dark Tom, which adds in a variety of accessories. Some things that have minimal to no use. I don't know what the llama head's use is, but they give you things. They're essentially like Terraria's accessories, except they do take the place of your armor slots. So you can wear something like a comically large snorkel, which I believe, yep, it gives you water breathing on occasion. And then you can also have things such as the night vision goggles, which literally just give you night vision 2 for 10 seconds, and then you can take them off whenever you need. But there's a ton of different accessories that give you a variety of different buffs, and they're really nice. You can only find most of them, I believe, from exploring the world, so it is important to explore your world. It does give you a reason to explore, because now you can find these exclusive things that, like, oh, some of them you can only find in different chests and different structures. And I'm also getting beat up by that skeleton, so I'm gonna run away. Next up we have Light It Up by Zelda Chair. This is an add-on that adds in a ton of new different, okay, this skeleton is getting on my nerves. There we go. A ton of new different lanterns that you can place on things that function like normal lanterns. You can hang them from things like you would expect to with a normal lantern. They don't actually change the color of light because you can't really do that in base Minecraft, but you can get different lanterns of different colors. Diamond lanterns, amethyst, dead, which I don't know that they actually provide any light. If anything, it seems like they're taking away light from a space, which is actually kind of cool. Emerald lanterns, which will give you more light. So it's just a really nice way to decorate your worlds with some extra new building blocks, as in a variety of new lanterns. So very, very nifty add-on. Next up we have Traps and Stuff by Lathe, which is exactly what it sounds like. It adds in a ton of new traps and things, which I am not going to have time to show you all of, but as an example, you've got the fake TNT, which will, if you try to break it, act like it's going to explode, and then it Okay, no, this actually explodes. Never mind. There are some that don't explode, but this is one that very much does explode. Let me grab my stuff back from my inventory. Nope, this one actually explodes on hit. There are some that there's one that explodes on hit, but it doesn't actually explode, if that makes sense. It just fakes an explosion. You've got things like diamond spikes, which will deal significant damage if you step on them, but you can also use them in mob farms to kill mobs and things, protect your house from mobs, that kind of stuff. You've also got fire igniters, which I'm not exactly sure how you change their reach level. It might just be a crafting thing, but they will basically give you infinite fire in any specific block, as well as a ton of different other new trap things. So very neat add-on. Next up, I'm gonna hop into creative for this one so I can, oh my gosh, so I can fly. And this is Nethercraft by Lathe, which I didn't throw anything in here because there's a ton of stuff, but most of it is just found naturally in the nether. So if I start to fly around for a minute, you can already see there are these new plants. You've got chaga plants, or kaga, or however you say it. There's also a couple new nether biomes. You can get soul stone, which is like glowstone but blue, as well as a ton of other nether things. There's some new structures in the nether. There's like a piglin boat, which you may recognize if you saw my trailer for it. Also in the nether you can find the souls from the one add-on, the soul add-on. Well, I don't know why I'm forgetting what it's called. You know, my brain is a little frazzled, but you can even get stuff like Burma stone. I guess they went to Myanmar. So ton of neat things in that add-on. Gives you a huge expansion to your nether, and that put me out way over there. Okay. Then we have Better on Bedrock, which is probably the biggest add-on in this pack by Poggy. So I only grabbed a few things from it because there are some good things. For example, the corpses you've been seeing, those are from Better on Bedrock. There are a lot of features of Better on Bedrock that I did not include in this add-on pack simply because they were incompatible with other add-ons in the pack, but there are a ton of new bosses and mobs such as the deer, bosses such as the enchanter and lich and villager, which I have a plushie of that you can get. Okay, they're already attacking me. And then a ton of new structures, which I don't know why this one is floating. Most of them are not floating, but you get things like this, which I believe this is one of the waystone towers, which is where you find waystones. Yes, so you can actually oh, I have another waystone apparently called Dauda. But if you crouch and interact with them, you can set waystones. So I can call this one high, submit, and then you need a certain amount of XP. So if I hit teleport, it's not going to teleport because I don't have enough XP. But they do have, you know, structures with loot and stuff, as well as bosses and a ton of other features. This is an add-on that I'd say just go look at the official add-on page for, because there are so many features. Terrain generation is the same, but trees look different. And I have not kept the ones from the oak biome that are different, but if you've noticed the different trees in the birch biome, that is Better on Bedrock, as well as a ton of the plants that are around. I'm not sure if tiny sprouts are, but I know that, let's see, taller grasses, I know that the hydrangeas are. There's a ton of new stuff. So this is just kind of an overhaul to Minecraft. Better on Bedrock is a great experience on its own. There are also a lot of features that aren't compatible with the add-on pack and other add-ons in the pack, so that's why they're not here. So if you want something that's like a lighter version of the add-on pack, just try Better on Bedrock, I would say. Next up, we have Redstone Tech by Vatnage. This is one add-on that I have only newly added to the pack, but it's a very cool add-on. So you can get things, all these new redstone accessories. These are only a handful of them. Things like the precision hopper, which allow you to choose a type of item or up to 9 types of item and filter them, and it works like a normal hopper. You can throw things in it and it will, well, filter it if you put a hopper on top of it, I believe. Then you have things like the player sensor, which will sense if there's a player nearby, which is good for making traps, but also, like, you know, if you want to disarm your base when a player walks nearby, but not when a mob walks nearby, you can do that. Okay, so it adds in various things like the things I've shown. You can also get a receiver, which I just goofed for a minute. I'm going to set this to blue, and then I'm going to set my transmitter to blue, which you can basically use to activate redstone from anywhere in the world. So yes, wireless redstone is a thing now. You can have a phone in Minecraft that you can use wirelessly. It's pretty awesome. And there's a ton of other features. There's some things like auto crafting, and, you know, there's a ton of stuff. Also a thing you should probably check the page for, which will be linked in the wiki. And then finally, the last add-on that has been recently added, which I'm going to use to blow everything up, is the More TNT add-on, also by Vatnage, which adds in things like compact TNT, which I think will give you a smaller explosion. Let's see this. Oh no, never mind. It gives you a huge explosion because it compacts everything. Well, so much for my world. I just blew it all up. You can get a 10 times TNT, and then you can get a lucky block TNT. Let's try the 10 times and just see how this goes. Oh my, okay, that kind of blew everything up. And then finally, lucky block TNT. There are a ton of different types of TNT though in this add-on. It's really fun to mess around with. Lucky block TNT, which can spawn in a bunch of different things, which are usually bad. This one spawned in water TNT that didn't actually do anything. Normally it does something. Maybe that wasn't water TNT. Anyway, regardless, there are a ton of add-ons in this pack. Check out the link in the description. You can both download this pack and access my wiki, and from the wiki you will have access to, you know, looking at all the add-ons individually and what they do, as well as a overview of some of the more important items and armor sets and things in the add-on pack. Thank you so much for watching this and for waiting as long as you've waited for this pack. I have spent a long time trying to make sure everything is compatible and making sure things work together, making sure there aren't bugs. I've fixed a lot of bugs and made a lot of tweaks to pre-existing add-ons. So if things don't seem exactly as they are in the add-ons themselves, like the original add-ons, that is probably why. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you made it here, link in the description to download this. Make sure to share your support with all the creators who helped with this pack. They will all be linked on my wiki. Like and subscribe, please. I spent forever on this and that would mean a lot to me. But fundamentally, I just wanted to make the best Minecraft experience that I possibly could for me. And this is basically what I wanted. And so even if nobody uses it, I'm still going to use it and I'm going to have fun with it. But I hope you use it and I hope you have fun with it. Thanks for watching though. See you later and goodbye.